Welcome to our ninth session. Thank you so much for staying with me this long. And by the end of this video, we'll have just one session left. All right, thank you so much. Um, Today we're going to be handling a topic called life transitions, and we'll be looking at navigating career change and shifts, aging, and lots more. Anything that has to do with transitioning in life. All right. So stay with me, stay with me, stay with me. Stay with me. All right. Let's go. So, you know, most people think that life and stress especially in life comes from bad things like losing a job, a breakup, financial difficulty, a major setback, you know. But the interesting thing is that even good things can stress you out. Getting married, having a child, starting a new job where you want to overperform, relocating to a new city, launching a business, graduating from school. All these things are transitions in life. And as powerful as they change more than our circumstances, they change us. You know, I've seen people saying, that lady, before she married, she was just so ras. But now, if you see her very quiet, you will not even know that she knows how to talk. It happens a lot. Life can change you in ways that even you may not expect. And that's the same way it is for men. So let's look at these 3 points. Change creates uncertainty. You know, they said one thing that is constant in life is change. And just the fact that life is always changing can create a lot of uncertainty because sometimes before you adjust to the new normal, a new version is out. Think of COVID-19 as an example. Before COVID-19, if they would tell some employers that people could actually stay at home, work for you, and get paid the same amount you would pay them if they were coming to your physical establishment every day, they will not believe. They'll be like, is that even possible? But because COVID-19 not allowing anybody to come outside, you say, oh, instead of my business to close, let them stay from home and be doing the work since we are still achieving the results. Do you understand? And so life transitioned. And if COVID-19 didn't teach you anything, it has to teach you that there's a lot of uncertainties and you have to be ready for them. All right. So human beings like familiarity. And this is a known fact. We like familiar places. That is why somebody will rather, that is why you are expected to win matches when you are playing home versus when you are playing away. Because they say, oh, well, this is your ground. You should know how it is and you should have more momentum to win. We like moving, knowing what tomorrow looks like, but transitions often remove that comfort. You don't really know what this next phase is going to be like. You leave a familiar environment, a familiar routine, a familiar identity, and suddenly you're learning how to live all over again. Let's put this into context. A man who gets promoted may be excited, but he may also become anxious. A man who relocates to a different country, to a different city, may be grateful, but at the same time, loneliness may become his new problem. A father may be joyful, but also start feeling overwhelmed. You need to understand that two emotions can exist at the same time, and you can be thankful and still be nervous. You can be excited and be scared at the same time. And at the same time, you can be hopeful and uncertain. These things are very, very normal. So change comes with its own uncertainty. Now let's look at the next point. Every new season requires a new version of you. You don't really know what you're capable of until you are in a situation where you need to unravel that thing. For instance, I found out when I went for village meeting that I tend to speak Igbo more fluently when I'm annoyed. And the reason is because how did I find out? I found out this, it happened like twice. And so I say, oh wow, it's like this is something. When I'm in the midst of village people, they don't really understand English so well. And so you speaking English there and them replying in Igbo, it's almost, they give you this look of you don't know what you're saying, right? You don't really know what you're saying. That's why you are here to speak, saying all these things you're saying. And so I find myself switching to what they know just to make sure that they understand what I'm trying to say. This thing that you have said now that is vexing me like this, don't say it again. You understand? One of the hardest parts of transition is realizing that what worked before may not work now. The habits that you served as a student, it may not be able to keep you as a husband. The mindset that helped you to survive may not help you lead. Being a student and being a husband, those are two different things. All right? Strategies that, and that's why some people find it difficult to go from bachelor to husband. They stay in that bachelorhood for a long time just because they've not made up their mind to switch into the next transition of life. You understand? And so growth often requires adaptation. Adaptation can be very uncomfortable. So sometimes you are not struggling because the new season is wrong. We are struggling because we are trying the old tools in a new season. There was a story I heard. It was a woman who, her son was coming back from the city and she stays in the village. Her son was coming back from the city and saw her carrying firewood on his head. He was driving. And so he said, Mama, enter the car, let's go. And the woman entered the car. Oh, my son, thank you. Enter the car. But still left the firewood on her head. And so you could be in a new period of your life, but still holding on to the old methods. Let's look at the next point I want to make. Don't mourn alone. All right. So there are some things that people tend to overlook. Transition involves loss. Something needs to go before a new one comes in, right? There's only so much your hands can carry. And most times, even for small things like getting a car, you may have to sell the old car so that the new one, if not for anything, because of parking space, the new one can have a space. All right. And so holding on to the old things sometimes can become a problem of its own. Even positive transitions, when you relocate, you lose familiarity. When you get married, you lose some certain freedoms, right? You can't now be checking every girl out there. You can't be doing midnight calls with your friends, right? Because now you're married. When you become a parent, your life changes forever. When you change careers, part of your old identity stays behind, and that's okay. Acknowledging what you have lost doesn't mean you are ungrateful for what you have gained. Remember, I said one of the ways to solve problems is to first of all acknowledge that there's a problem. All right. The fact that you know that, oh, I've lost this part of me, I can't go into this area of life again because now I'm married or now I'm a parent, is also valid. It just means that you're human, okay? Give yourself the permission to process change honestly. Some people go into depression because now they are parents. There's something called postpartum depression. And it's a kind of depression that comes only after a woman has given birth. Studies are still being made to find out how exactly those depressions come about. But there's one thing that is sure: the woman has just transitioned from being and it usually happens with the first child. Usually happens with the first child, right? And so the woman has gone from being a woman of her own to bringing somebody into this world. And it's just the transition that can take you from a normal human being to even someone that is mentally unstable. So it's something you need to pay attention to. Let's look at some points to reflect on. If you're watching this, chances are you've already experienced some major transitions in your life. Maybe you are navigating one right now. Okay? But if there's one thing you need to understand, is this: transitions are rarely as smooth as they look from the outside. Everyone else sees the destination. Very few people see the adjustment, the uncertainty, the learning curve, the emotional weight. Give yourself some grace. You are just adapting. Okay? You are adapting. All right. As usual, I have a challenge for you. Ask yourself the following questions: what has changed recently? All right. Second question I think you should ask yourself is, what am I currently adjusting to? All right. Also, ask yourself, what expectations am I putting on myself? And then ask yourself, am I giving myself enough grace to grow into this season? Stop demanding perfection from yourself all the time. Sometimes it's okay. Just do the norms and have peace. Adjustment takes time. So just don't overpressure yourself. Don't overpressure yourself. I'll close with this. Life moves in seasons. Some seasons begin unexpectedly, some end before we are ready. But every transition carries an opportunity for growth. Don't fear change, learn from it, grow through it, and trust that you are becoming the person this new season requires. You are not who you are, or you are not who you were 5 years ago. And that is not failure, that is growth. Thank you so much for joining this session. With this, we have one more session. One more. All right. And if you ask me, that session that is left is super, super, super important. It is where we are going to be addressing the topic, the art of asking for help. See you guys in the last session. Bye.